this. Let me. Hi, honey. We are live, by the way, sis. Can you see the chat?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay. Maria's in here. She says hello and good evening. Hi, sweetie.
Yeah.
So tonight we are going to be discussing Neptune and Pluto. So Maria, if you have your placements ready, we'll talk about those. We'll talk about mine. We'll talk about Carla's. We'll talk about, what each of the planets mean and go from there and what each one of them mean for us personally. So let me put this up. All right. You want to start us out, Sissy?
Yes. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Neptune was discovered in 1846 by French urbain Jean Leverre. You know what? Hold on one second.
Okay.
Not sure if that's going to make a difference, but anyway. Did you hear a little bit of an echo?
No, it wasn't too bad for me.
All right. Astrologers in those days looked to world events for Neptune's inner meaning. Hypnosis and mesmerism became popular in the 40s, and nitrous oxide became the first anesthetic to be used in medicine. In 1848, the spiritualist movement began with many things to closely follow. All this marked the world's entrance into new possible realities. Neptune represents the higher vibration or frequency of Venus. An example of this is Venus symbolizing personal love and Neptune symbolizing universal love, creating a harmony with the cosmos in its watery depths. Neptunians are known for being receptors, psychics, conduits, dreamers, people who can receive information from other planes of consciousness. Neptune is very much associated with the third eye. With such a high sensitivity, a Neptunian can easily become swept away in another reality. And this is where Saturn's foundation can steady them. Neptune is our chart. Neptune is our chart, is where we seek
in our chart. Sorry.
I thought maybe that was it.
It was my screw up, guys.
Hey, I can't even read sometimes, so. So Neptune in our chart is where we seek to express our highest ideals for a more loving and serene existence. Neptune illnesses can stem from our deepest fears and phobias and a loss of reality. Also can be associated with drug addictions.
Because when you think about it, when poorly aspected, Pisces, the 12th house, more or less, they're known as being super dreamy, super like flighty. They need to ground themselves, maybe not their head necessarily in our reality because they're living in fantasy. Sometimes that's when it's not skillfully expressed. So, but the good things, the skillful things of it are being super intuitive, psychic, a healer, because water healer, inspiring, creativity, idealistic, and unskillfully expressed can be ungrounded, our head in the clouds all the time, overly sensitive, delusional to a point of, so one of them that you could associate with that would also be like schizophrenia, an actual mental illness where it's it can feel like an illusion because it's not in our reality kind of thing. So those are the things. So Neptune is known as the mystic. And I unify is the verb that it uses, or I think it's the verb. It says my capacity to transcend the finite self through expressing unity with a greater whole. So also when you think of Neptune, think of, or like Pisces and the 12th sign, we think, or the 12th house or 12th sign, we think of like more instead of an individual consciousness, more going into like a hive mind or mass consciousness kind of thing. It's more whole. It's the bigger picture kind of stuff. And it's roughly 15 years or 14 years in a sign. So it's one of the generational planets. So if like you and I are born, are not far from each other. So there's a good chance that ours is in the same zodiac sign, because it changes zodiac sign roughly every 14 years.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, and it takes to go through the entire zodiac 164 years. And it also co-rules with the moon over the body with fluids. So like your blood, stuff like that, poisons and viruses that attack our immune system, which is how we keep our barriers intact. So let's start with yours, honey, because wow, my Neptune is in the 13th sign in retrograde in the 4th house. I don't remember what the 13th sign
serpent
is. It's the serpent bearer. It's a fucus or something like that. But I don't remember what I think it's about like enlightenment and bringing about like bringing about Kundalini, stuff like that. I think that that's what the 13th one, and the goddess energy, goddess energy. So with yours being in that one, wow. And I don't even know. I wonder, is that a water sign also? Is Ophiuchus? I don't even know that either.
I don't either. We really need to do, for Real Sky, we need to check that out.
I will. Next week, I'll make sure that I do as much research as I can on Ophiuchus or whatever the serpent bearer.
Because so everyone, I believe, should have the opportunity to use whatever system they want, but we can make them aware so that they can use the Real Sky. Because, even what I've got tonight was from my Western, because I'm not sure what I did from Real Sky one. But
I am guessing that it is water. And the reason why I'm guessing water, and I could be wrong, but it's because it shares the same house with Scorpio, which is water. So
you're probably right.
The two of them are both the 8th house. And the 8th house, the ruler is Pluto, right? So I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. So with saying that, with your Neptune being in your the 13th sign of like evolution, ascension, more or less. That's what I'm saying right now. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong next week. This is how you express yourself, like through your dreams, your ideals, your intuition, and psychic vision, which is right in touch with each other. So when skillfully expressed, we go over to, well, I don't have it. I don't have character traits for it. But let's even think about, well, see, I don't know. Yeah, I can't really comment on that, sweetie, because I don't know what all the characteristics are of that. But, if you're thinking about ascension, I would think that it's about more of like a higher love frequency, like a more group-minded, you know what I mean, individual, which I do see you like that. You're a very loving person. Yeah.
And negatively aspected would be just the opposite. So like if you're not in a healthy place, you would be just the opposite.
Just like very self-centered, only worrying about you, not about how the rest of the world is, how it's progressing. That's how I could see that come about. And if I'm thinking about water, because I think it's water, then it would be how I express my dreams, ideals, intuition, and vision would be with empathy and compassion. And I feel like you do that. Definitely. And with it being in your fourth house, right. The fourth house is about home, family, ancestors, homeland, and children. So it is like one of the cornerstone houses. It's a foundational house. It has to do with like your childhood home, your family, your parents, who nurtured you. So those strong ties with your grandma and your mom both. Which that would kind of explain also this like psychic tie you have with your grandma as well, and that goddess energy. Yeah,
big time.
Yeah, it signifies your home and your home privacy as well, real estate. And in Western it would be in Sagittarius. Okay, well that explains you too, though. Because in Sagittarius, they are the seekers. They are the ones that are always looking for information, and it's usually around religion, philosophy, mythology, maybe tarot systems, divination, higher education. So that fits also. That's where your dreams and stuff like that comes in. So that makes perfect sense to me. And yours, Carla, yours is in Scorpio in your third house. So yours, if we go to, Scorpio is about like occult, power, magnetism, your sexuality also, your emotions, highly emotional, your level of intensity, because we've all seen when you get really passionate about something, even when you're on these, you're like you're like, and it's like in your eyes.
Negatively aspected, you can ask the people that, have seen me that way. I'm just as powerful, and it's bad.
Exactly. Well, negatively aspected, you could become sarcastic, violent. You're not violent. Obsessive. Yeah, you won't let something go until you feel like you've completely been heard. I can relate because I'm very much the same.
That Neptune is all about, the psychic, all that or whatever. That's what I'm talking about. The energy that comes to me, it's like I could be Darth Vader.
Yes.
So I have to watch it.
Yes. Hidden stuff, deep stuff. Musical is one of those, also under Scorpio. And you know what's funny? My Neptune is also in Scorpio.
Oh,
so I can completely relate. Yes. But mine is right next to also my Venus. And remember,
what it said,
higher octave of Venus.
Oh, Venus. Yeah.
So I'm getting like, which has to do with like your magnetism, your sex drive also. It can be, even maybe kinky stuff. Kinky stuff. Really?
Yeah, I never would have guessed that one.
Hey, most people would not know that about me. You're just my sister.
I don't know that about you.
But negatively aspected, we can be secretive. We can be paranoid. Oh, really? Like we've never been paranoid. We can be deceptive, keeping secrets. We can be lustful. We can be jealous. Oh my gosh, really? Yeah. Do you still have a tracker on your man's phone? Does he know?
All the kids and his, yeah.
And we can be revengeful and cruel, Would you say that you sometimes seek revenge?
Only on Bob.
Only the one you love the most, right? Well, no, you don't love
Yeah.
him the most, but yeah, I get it. And mine just happens to be the same one. But yours is in your third house, which is like your neighborhood, your partner, or I mean, like your siblings, communication, writing, memory, your neighborhood, your routine, not your routines, but like the place that you shop, the normal stuff. Well, yeah, your day-to-day routines and tasks, and childhood. So like grammar school, gosh, and Carla, when you think about it, when you were a kid, you were so secretive. You would wear the big clothes so that you could like hide under. Remember? It wasn't until like almost like your senior year that you started actually
It was
taking
my
off the
senior
big coat.
year.
Yeah, and singing in public and stuff like that. That's when you kind of came out of your shell. And that has to do with like your childhood when you're younger, that house, the third house. So that makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah.
It's in my fifth house, which is how we have fun, things that we do for creativity, the delightful side of us. So I'm never ever like I never feel bad when I say, yeah, I'm into conspiracy theories. I think it's funny. So
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it, because that is like the occult. I've never been afraid to tell somebody, yeah, I'm a witch, or yeah, I believe in this, or I believe in that. I mean, I'll just meet somebody and go, so tell me, what do you think about aliens or something like that?
I know, but I do that actually.
Yeah,
I don't
get a kick out
have trouble telling people.
of it. Exactly.
Because you just, yeah.
All right. So then, oops, let's move on down to the bottom here. So, okay, we already got that part done. All right. So let's move on to the next one then, because we're starting to run out of time. Oh, I was on Pluto. Okay. All right. So do you want to read this one, Sissy?
All right. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. Pluto was first discovered in 1930 by astronomer Percival Lowell. Since its discovery and the tracking of its migration through the zodiac, it has been linked to many destructive occurrences. 1914, Pluto entered Cancer and World War I began. 1929, the Great Depression. 1930s began the era of gangsters and racketeering. Pluto entered Leo in 1939, and fascism spread throughout Europe. And there is also the regenerative aspect. Oh, I just totally missed something.
You missed the
Throughout
line.
Europe. And in 1945, the first atomic bomb initiated the nuclear age. Although we see the destructive side of Pluto, there is also the regenerative aspect as well. Pluto represents destruction and renewal, death and rebirth, like that of the phoenix rising out of the ashes. Those born with Pluto playing a prominent role in their chart have a more intimate understanding of this process and can become skilled healers. This dark night of the soul can lead to a glorious rebirth. Pluto represents the regenerative cells in the body, such as new skin, new blood, and full body every 7 years. Pluto is also associated with the reproductive system and sexual union, including the sexual orgasm and the creation of new life. Illnesses associated with Pluto are toxins and poisons in our body, as well as psychological toxins and poisons. Cancer and genetic mutations are also related to Pluto. Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yes. You know what it makes me think of? Like Kali, the goddess Kali, how it is destruction and then rebirth, or any kind of god that is about destruction and then rebirth. That is Pluto. And you got to
Wow.
understand.
That's extremely interesting.
Why do you
Because
say that?
when does Pluto come in? Where's it coming in next?
It's in, where is it in right now? It's in retrograde right now too. It just entered retrograde the end of March. Yeah, it's like the tower moment. It's from it brings about ascension. I mean, if you think about it.
If
Or
it's
even
in
like
retrograde?
it, I mean, just in general, Pluto does. It's that energy. But I want you guys to understand something. And this is something that I just realized. I don't know why I just realized this, but this is something. These were not planets, these associations. This was just associated in 1930 or 1940, after all these things occurred. When there is a new planet that is discovered, that's what they do. They look at what the political climate, what is going on in the world, what new inventions are happening, and they put those kind of meanings on these planets. So these are not anything ancient. At least Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are all discovered. Uranus, what was 1700? Was discovered in 1700. So who knows what their true meaning was way back when?
Right.
We're not dealing with that, right? Because I do believe that they had information about them, but we've lost it. So
part of that sacred knowledge, you bet.
Yes. But yeah, so it's very much Pluto is in retro till October 6th or so. What I was looking for this because I was born during a Pluto retrograde. And so what a Pluto retrograde can signify is a feeling of lost control, a feeling of being taken advantage of when it's in retrograde. Somebody that's born during a retrograde can be somebody that feels like others just discount what they say, or even to a point of self knocking yourself down all the time, like you're not good enough kind of thing. And it eventually can turn into very self-destructive behavior, right? But it can also turn the other way and make you super controlling, or make you super manipulating, controlling, vindictive, destructive, those kind of things. So I could have it like doubly bad because of being born under a retrograde. However, when the rest of the world is experiencing a retrograde, if they were not born under a retrograde, then it would feel that way to them, like feelings of self, like I'm not good enough, all that, where it could make me feel normal. Do you see what I mean? It's like, because that's what was normal for me. That's just my take on it. But anyways, so Maria, your Pluto, you said, is in Virgo in your second house. So if we look at Virgo, which we know the signs of Virgo, we all have strong Virgo in our charts. Virgo, they are thinkers, they are communicators, they are organizers, planners, they're analytical, they are very precise, very detail oriented, very exacting. These are the words that I'm saying. Very health conscious, conscientious, they're unselfish, they're very grounded, they're practical kind of people. So if your Pluto is in that, then, and also it's an earth sign. So you go back to the chart, where is it? So, well, and the second house, yeah, they can be overthinkers, negatively aspected, yes. But in the second house is based off of Taurus, which is like our parents, the things, our gains and profits, things that we inherit from our parents, stuff like that, you know. So so that could kind of mean a transformation, maybe from the way that you were raised in the second house. Meaning, do you do a lot of things different than the way that you were raised? Do you feel like you have evolved? And I think we all kind of do that from each step of our parenting, the way, you know what I mean? So then our kids are going to parent a little bit better than what we did, and on and on and on. But I mean, actual life changing in that area. Like, has your mom been living in the same place? Does she own her place? What kind of money did your mom make in comparison to you? Because it has to do with gains and losses. Well, let's see, second houses. Wealth, gains, possessions, finance. The second house shows how you handle your belongings, that you hold sacred. Different from your mom in a way, because I don't want to repeat her trauma. Well, your money, your objects, the qualities in yourself, because we got to remember, second house is based off of Taurus, which is also ruled by Venus. But Taurus is ruled by Venus in a way that it has to do with the things that we seek pleasure in, like our food,
the physical.
Yeah, and our possessions, and how we might value ourselves because of that as well. So it says it also shows the side of you that maintains your possessions and what you buy for yourself, as well as the amount of money that you earn. It shows what you are willing to do for money. So it is highly related to your self-esteem. So in that case, it could show how you are either very conservative, or you maybe went through a phase like what you're talking about now with even your tarot, where you went through a phase of binging, and now you're feeling like, okay, this is not working for me anymore. So it's time for a transformation. I'm going to start purging. That's kind of like what Pluto does. With Pluto being in retrograde, because I know that you're feeling a lot of that. That could be part of that energy right there, doing things different. So around your wealth and possessions and stuff. And Carla, your Pluto is in Virgo in your first house. So this could have to do with your body, your routines, the way that you think about yourself, the way that you think about how you present yourself to other people. See what I mean? And going through what you just recently went through, a whole life, like, see, God, it makes sense. Everything that you're doing is about to change. You have been down one road for so long, and you are like a phoenix getting ready to rise up, because you're starting your new business. You're letting your daughter go off to work so that you can stay at home with the babies, something you've never done before.
I know, never.
So you're actually transforming and saying, okay, I'm going to start putting a little bit of the focus on myself instead of everybody else and being that caretaker. I'm going to let myself go through this transformation. Wow. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I am my
and I definitely had to put my ego in check, do that kind of stuff.
Oh, we all do. Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of it too. Pluto is like, not ego death. I don't like that term, because we need an ego, but it is like putting a muzzle on our ego.
Right.
You know what I mean? And mine is in Virgo also. Pluto is in Virgo also in my third house, but my Pluto was in retrograde, and third house has to do with communication, writing, blah, 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 blah. So there you go. Interesting, huh?
Very. Very.
It gives a little bit more perspective. So next week, why don't we start? I think I said, why don't we do like the start talking about the aspects like conjunctions, squares, sextiles, like what you had talked about, and how those things work within each other. So
Do you want to
what?
do you want to touch on that 13th sign?
Yes, I'm definitely going to touch on Ophiuchus or the serpent bearer, you know, and see what we can discover about that. I mean, really going forward, I want to know too, because although I don't have anything in it, I have stuff like right next to it.
Yeah.
Right close. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm going to
Cool.
do that also, but it's not going to take up a whole thing. So I'll do that, and then I'll maybe start on conjunctions. Yeah.
And you
Why
said
don't we do that
sextile.
and conjunctions?
Okay.
Well, see, the whole thing is I want to take my time. I don't want to go through and do all of them all at
Yeah.
once.
Okay.
Because I think, like, for instance, when there's a conjunction, let's talk about what these two planets in conjunction mean to each other, what these two planets when they're in conjunction mean to each other, and go down the whole list. If the sun is in conjunction with the moon, what does that mean? Like we just went through with this new moon.
Okay.
This new moon that was in Aries, right? So the sun and the moon were both at the same degree. So that would be they're working together. They're in conjunction with each other. So what would that mean? Let's get the actual details about that and the 13th sign. Cool?
Sounds good.
I know not everybody in here is doing the, you know, real sky. But
right.
So I don't want to take up a whole episode with just that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But all right. Well, thank you for joining us, Maria. It's always really nice having you here so that we can talk about these things also.
Yeah.
You know, and the more people that are able to show up, and I know it's not easy for everybody. I know Maria stays up for this because she's a really like a late, you know, person. She stays up late anyways. But not everybody wants to stay up that late. So, and I can appreciate that. So these videos are good for afterwards too, right? Good. We're learning a lot. I learn each week, and then I forget a little bit, and then I'm reminded each week.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah. But these, it's the having all of these as resources, the notebooks, you know, the documents. They make everything so much better. The joy of home office. Exactly. Sleeping in a little bit. Yes. You got to love that. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us, sweetheart. And we're going to say it's time to go. And it's 3300. Now it's 3303. So time to go. Love you. Talk to you later, honey.